for Kiefer Moore. He's got all the natural ability. I've spoken to you, probably bored you about him playing a more central role because I think his pace is an attractive proposition there. I think he's become more involved in the game rather than drift out of the game. He starts tonight. That's my very long way of asking you, what do you think Josh Murphy can bring to this side? And perhaps more to the point, what can he bring to the side from perhaps a number 10 or central striking position?
Pace and goals is the simple answer. You know, we've seen it from Josh Murphy in snippets over the years in the Cardiff jersey. You know, he got Premier League goals early on in that campaign, and you saw even in that fleeting cameo on the weekend what he can do to defenders. They're just petrified of his pace. So he can really be a game changer for Cardiff. And I think you're right. You know, yeah, you have bored me over the years talking about playing Josh Murphy through the middle more often. But I think you're right as well, because defenders, especially at this level, are just petrified by pace. So you saw against Huddersfield away last season, scored a lovely goal through the middle. You saw against Middlesbrough after the restart as well, you know, got his 2 goals on the counter-attack. So I think the ability to have him in that forward line anywhere frees up Cardiff a little bit. Certainly playing alongside intelligent, fluid forward players like he's going to line up this evening. Hoylett on one flank. We think Harry Wilson on the others. It's not going to remain like that for 90 minutes. There will be a rotation of players there. We've seen that as well when Alger's come on and played. So I do think there's a difference in system that Neil Harris is trying to implement when he plays 3 behind a striker. And I think it's going to get the best out of Josh Murphy.
Just to follow up on that, Ash, you raised a good point. Was that the difference in the last 20 minutes on Saturday, that it went from perhaps a more static 4-4-2 to a more fluid 3 men rotating behind Kiefer Moore, and that really gave Millwall some problems?
Yeah, I think so. I think too often what we saw was 2, decent performances from Glatzel and Moore up until that change. Both of them toiled really hard and tried to do the best with what they had, which wasn't a great deal of service. But as soon as they made that change and it became a fluid 3 behind the striker, they 2 strikers not stepping on each other's toes, not trying to occupy the same space, and he started dragging defenders into positions they didn't want to deal with, and added to that obviously the injection of pace, fresh legs, urgency off the bench as well. And I thought that's why we had Millwall on that back foot for the last 20 minutes. It doesn't mean you abandon your principles. Cardiff's primary opportunities in those closing exchanges still came aerially. It's still the Kiefer Moore header, the set piece opportunity with Joe Bennett getting the header on the second phase of play. So you don't abandon your principles, but you add a new dynamic to ask defences questions as the game wears on.
I want to ask you the Coventry question, and I'm throwing you now, but I am going to put one more in regarding that Millwall performance. Was that 20 minutes Kiefer Moore's best 20 minutes of the season in terms of his all-round game, of his mobility? Obviously he scored that goal. He was bullying defenders perhaps the last 20 minutes. Was that his best 20 minutes in the Cardiff City shirt, albeit he was great in the first half against Nottingham Forest also? Yes,
I think it was his most dynamic. I thought he caused more problems for defenders in that period than he had done. Ironically, went scoring more goals, obviously, in a Cardiff shirt up until that point. But he certainly seemed to thrive in that system. Seemed to thrive in the movement around him, and greater balls into the box. Quite frankly, he had better service in that period as well. I do think he caused problems, and I think he's going to cause problems for Coventry tonight. You're looking at a team that, for a 3rd consecutive week now, a team that have changed from playing a back 3 for most of the season, come up against Cardiff, they've gone to a back 2, and I do think that in large effect is that they want 2 centre halves up there to try and deal with the aerial threat of Kiefer Moore. It's worked for some teams, not so much others. So I do think we will have success tonight. But they're a team that look very narrow, as did Millwall on the weekend. They're going to ask an awful lot of their full-backs going forward by the look of it. We scratched our heads when we spoke after the teams came out about how they're going to line up. It looks like they're playing players, slightly out of position again, which was the case for Millwall on the weekend. And as the game wore on, I thought we started to exploit that against Millwall. Ryan Leonard filling in at right back. I thought Joe Bennett had an awful lot of joy down that left-hand side. And I do think if they're going to start Gustavo Hamer narrow on that right-hand side, and leave Fataki Darbo slightly isolated this evening, and I think that's another area we could get joy down that side. And I think Kiefer Moore will be looking for the same type of service from Joe Bennett again.
See, that's the synergy between you and I. You answer the question before I've asked it. So you've done the Coventry preview for me. I'll just finish by asking you are in the right place tonight. Yeah, you're not in Highfield Road or the Ricoh Arena.
No, we are. Right stadium. Yeah, it's a stadium, like I said, we've been countless times over the years. I've been to St Andrews, and I can't remember the last time I saw an enjoyable game of football here. So fingers crossed for one this evening.
Ash, I hope it's enjoyable. More than anything, I hope it's 3 points. We'll speak to you again in a few moments, and have a safe trip home.
Thank you very much.
My thanks there to Ash, and I'm sure he's not jealous at all of the centrally heated studio here at Cardiff City Stadium. Well, one of the talking points coming out of the game against Millwall on Saturday was the fact that two players were making their 250th appearance for Cardiff City. You can't separate them on or off the pitch, or indeed in terms of appearances for the Bluebirds. Club captain Sean Morrison and club stalwart Joe Ralls, two excellent servants for Cardiff City, made those appearances on Saturday, and a little earlier this week Cardiff City TV had a chance to catch up with them.
Okay lads, thanks for joining us today. Congratulations to both of you. 250 games apiece for Cardiff City, and you managed to do it on the same day as well. Does it feel like 250 games, Moz?
It feels like more. Yeah, it's been, for me, it's been over 6 years now, and to reach 250 games is amazing. I never thought I'd ever play 250 games for any club. So to have spent so much time here and to reach that milestone alongside my mate as well makes it even more special. So now really proud to have wore the shirt 250 times, and hopefully many more to come.
Well, so you took a couple of years longer to do it, nine years the other week since you made your debut, but must be very special for you as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, of course. Obviously, coming through here and stuff, all you want to do is play for the club, and then it's, trying to establish yourself and all that. But you're coming through to go on and play 250 games. I probably didn't expect it, like I say, 9 years ago, trying to make my way into the first team. So, yeah, something I'm really proud of. Nice milestones to hit, obviously. And, hopefully many more to come.
Do you remember your debut?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, I remember. I think the debuts are so they're just such an amazing feeling. Obviously, playing for the first time for Cardiff or your first league game, whatever it may be. Them first milestones, I think you'll always remember. To be honest with you,
You obviously scored that goal against Hull in the league, but you had a couple of League Cup appearances before that with number 52 on your back, if I remember correctly. Should we have a little look at what that looked like at the time?
Go for it.
What about that?
Oh my God.
Why's my neck so long? I was still maturing into my body at that point, I think.
You were, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
In fairness to you. And Moz, you signed a few years, you're not getting away with this, but you signed a few years after Joe first came through. Do you remember who signed on the same day as you back in 2014?
Pilkey.
It was.
Yeah, see, I look $1 million there. Me and the Pilk dog.
Yeah, you weren't like 17 years old. I'd love to see a photo of you at 17.
Yeah, see, I was 23 there. How old are you in yours? About 33.
17, I reckon.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, I remember that day very well.
Do you remember your first game together, either of you? Or were you not quite as good friends as you were then? No, it wasn't.
No, actually, a story. Ralsy, the first start, obviously I met him in the training ground, and Stacey was up in Cardiff with me. So we went into town, bumped into Ralsy in the lift, and he just completely ignored me.
Oh my God.
Did you or not ignore me?
That's not true. I didn't know what to say, really. I was just like, you're right.
We got in the lift and he basically ignored me, right? I'd been at the club about 2 or 3 days. Yeah, and he nodded at me and looked at me like...
So you was a senior player brought in. You should have been... started the conversation.
Were you a bit intimidated by him, Joe? He's a bit bigger than you.
I was intimidated by him.
We're similar size. I wasn't intimidated at all.
I can't remember what our first game would have been. I mean, my first game was Wigan at home. I don't know if Ralsy would have played or not, but I reckon it would have. If it was the Norwich game, then we shouldn't talk about it.
Well, it wasn't quite the Norwich game. That's the first time you both started, was the Norwich game, 4-2 defeat, which we'll get in there now. But you played together for the first time August the 30th, 2014 at Fulham, 1-1. Moz, you started, Ralsy, you came on the hour.
Yeah, I remember the game actually, yeah.
Do you remember the first time you both scored in a game together? Both of you on the score sheet on the same day?
I don't, to be honest with you.
Do you reckon it's ever happened?
It was never. Never.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't think it had happened.
Was it not? No.
I'm surprised at that. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Ralsy's usually getting the assists for me, though. Do you know what I mean?
That's
yeah, exactly. I've had a few of them off me.
He's doing a heavy lift.
Oh no, you should have a few off me as well from the flick-ons, from long throws.
Very good.
Hard to judge.
Final thing between you, five-a-side team. You're both in it. So give me a goalkeeper, another midfielder, and a forward. Don't include members of the current squad.
I'd probably go with Dave the Save. Big Marshy in goal. I now probably go with Gunnar in midfield. And then up front, I'd go, difficult one. I'd go with Pilks.
Yeah.
Pilks father side, shambles. He'd be the best player in the park.
So what about you, Ralsy? We're saying Marshy, Gunnar and Pilks. Any changes there for you? Or are you happy with that five-a-side team?
Do I need a defender, don't I, mine?
No, you and Moz in there as defender and midfield.
Oh, I see what I mean.
You can either have a defender or a midfield.
Marshy, I think, yeah, definitely. I'd have to get Wits in there somewhere, I think. Probably for Gunners. And then, don't know, probably, it's a difficult one. I mean, probably say Bellamy. When I was younger, obviously. Could see his quality, do you know what I mean? Every day, really. So I think that would be a good side.
Had some good teammates over the years, boys. Fair play. That's not easy to pick just a five there, but I think it's fair to say both of you thoroughly deserve your place in that team as well. So well done on the 250 games, both of you.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Here's to many more, boys. Good luck for the coming weeks.
Brilliant.
Thanks a lot, Mark.
Nice one, Mark.
Well, thank you for joining us on our slightly elongated pre-match show. I won't say too much more, only to remind you, if you're watching on YouTube, now is the time you need to switch over to the website to get full coverage of the Bluebirds against Coventry City this evening. My thanks to you for joining me. After the credits, you'll be joined by our match commentators, Ashley James and Mark Denham.
Welcome back to Cardiff City TV. Tommy over the wall and into the goal! Cut back to Ralls, and Ralls fires home.
Welcome to Matchday Live here at the unusual setting of St Andrew's Stadium, Birmingham. Coventry City, the hosts tonight for us. Neil Harris's Bluebirds taking to the field now, as you can see from these pictures. Thank you for being with us this evening. Only one change, as the boys spoke about pre-match. Josh Murphy coming in, big opportunity for him tonight. And also that man, Kiefer Moore, who scored a pretty critical goal, it's fair to say, at the Den on Saturday. Coming away from there with a point is never a bad result, let's be fair. But City, I think it's not an exaggeration, Ash, to say really must target all 3 points tonight.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I think you're right. I think Neil Harris has alluded to that, doesn't he, himself, pre-match. He said that the gap can't get any bigger to the playoffs, and I think, you know, read between the lines, that means you really need to be targeting wins here this evening, but also with winnable games coming up against Luton and Huddersfield as well. The irony being that I think there's two teams that are largely looking ahead, because Coventry are desperately out of form. One win in their last 10, you know, drawn a blank in 4 of the last 8 games. They're not in good form. It's been